Hey Derek, it's nice to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me today. The reason why I want to have conversation with you because some of the techniques that you use in marketing your place is amazing. Introduce yourself, tell us where you're from and what kind of business you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Derek Tadurnis, and I am in Nebraska, and I own an axe throwing and paint splatter room called Axe Holes Carney.
Awesome. And how you actually came across, across me and our agency?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's I would say a small number of axe throwing venues across the nation, right? I think what is there 4,000 or so across the nation, and everybody kind of knows each other. And I started to see you post and give some feedback and really valuable information through the comments section of the Facebook groups that I'm part of. That's like the owner axe throwing group venue Facebook groups, and really started to kind of watch you and understand, what you guys are doing. And you were always giving back and you were always giving super valuable information. And so I got to know you a little bit, and then you introduced me to Austin. And I feel like Austin and I really vibed together really well. He really inspired me. I would say became friends with him a little bit. And so you guys have just been the game changer for us. So it's been great.
Derek, can you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, for my day job, I run an IT and cybersecurity company, which doesn't seem like it would relate, but how I came across this business is I was looking for a side business for a couple years, and I just really wasn't finding anything that was a good fit. And then I came across this opportunity, and it just seemed to be a good fit. And for us, our axe throwing venue, 60% of the revenue is businesses and organizations doing team building events. And for my day job on the IT and cybersecurity side, it's all B2B. And so I have a high comfort level working with businesses and organizations. So naturally, I gravitate towards that piece of the marketing side, just because I just live and breathe that every single day. One of the biggest challenges that I had, though, was to learn what I call the casual consumer side. I just didn't know how to relate or, the right marketing to get to the casual consumer that necessarily wasn't a business. And so that was a huge learning curve for me. But yeah, so that's kind of what my background is and how it's kind of related to the axe throwing side, which is very interesting.
Nice. And so you found this extra place that were for sale and acquired it, right?
Correct.
And I believe at the beginning you didn't have a splitter room, right? So you added it later on.
Yeah. So, through the relationships with Blue Apple Marketing and just starting to learn other venues, as I started talking with Austin, we were just talking about what is another experience. And, you guys have all your spin art nations and your escape rooms. And, after talking to you and Austin, it was really a turning point for me because I knew that, as axe throwing was maybe on the downside of the peak of where it was, in 2020, or maybe 2021, 2022, coming out of COVID. So I knew that we needed to add another experience. And so I actually ended up just Googling axe throwing and paint splatter rooms. And I wanted to talk to somebody that had both. I know you guys were doing the Spin Art Nation. And so I just did a simple Google search and found Axe Guard on the East Coast that was doing both axe throwing and paint splatter. And I just simply went to their website and I went to contact us and I sent them a message and said, "Hey, my name is Derek. I own an axe throwing venue in Nebraska. Would you be willing to talk to me about your paint splatter room?" And it was amazing. They were open arms. They called me and said, "Hey, not only do we want to talk on the phone, let's do a FaceTime video. We want to show you what, our paint splatter room is." And they literally kind of gave me the blueprint of what I needed to do to install our paint splatter room. So I did that with, the advice from you and Austin as well. It's been an absolute game changer for us.
This is what I think make you different from like, so many other people who would think and consider but never execute. And you're like literally over there just executing and implementing everything.
Interesting that you say that because I think business owners underestimate the amount of action it takes to be able to be successful in business. And I just think they totally underestimate the volume of action it takes.
Yep, yep, 100%. One of the interesting things that Austin shared with me is the way how you market to the groups, right? Can you tell us a little bit more? What is your approach?
Yeah. On the axe throwing side, we really market to businesses and organizations. And, what we do for that is we have some pretty sophisticated email campaigns set up. We have a cold caller. So obviously it's holiday party season. So our cold caller is really kind of going at it right now and calling it. And the pitch is really easy, right? You're not trying to sell a widget or a piece of software. And so cold calling, we've seen great success for because the whole part of cold calling is you want to get past the front desk to the decision maker, and when you're cold calling for a holiday party, that or the office person wants to get you to the decision maker because they want to have the party. And so cold calling has been great for us. Email marketing has been great for us. We've done some Facebook ads for team building events as well. That's done okay for us. On the casual consumer side, people doing birthday parties and things like that, Facebook ads have definitely been generating the most revenue for us. We've done a lot of SEO. When I purchased the business basically didn't have a website. And so we were, obviously that's long-term SEO and that investment that we've made, and it's really, really paying off. And, now we're ranking on the first page for birthday parties for, things to do in Kearney, Nebraska, and attractions and all the SEO keywords that we've really spent a lot of time working to make sure that we're ranking in those on that first page of Google. So we're very blessed to be the only axe throwing venue in our town. We're a city or a town of 30,000 people, but we do have other attractions. We have a family fun center, we have golf simulators, things like that. And so we are competing in that space, but yeah, we're working our way at taking some of that market share for sure.
That's nice. Can you tell us a little bit more about your location? Like how many square feet, how many extra lanes, what
Yeah.
kind of extra? Because there is a different kinds. Like how many splatter rooms you have?
Yeah, we are a 3,000 square feet facility, and we have one splatter room that we can get up to 20 people in at once. So it's a decent sized splatter room. We have 8 axe throwing lanes, and we have double targets in our axe throwing lanes. We also have projection targets. And so you can play up to 15 different games, anywhere from Battleship to tic tac toe to the standard axe throwing target. So it's all interactive. And then we just put in some arcade games. So we have Pac-Man, we have some claw machines. We also have skill machines. We just put those in last week. So we'll kind of see how those do.
That's awesome. Do you have alcohol license or BYOB?
Yeah, so we do have an alcohol license. So we do serve canned, domestic, and craft beer.
It's nice, nice. What would you say, or do you know your numbers? Like, what's the percentage of sales goes towards like alcohol sales?
Yeah, about 12 to 15% is drink sales, whether that be non-alcoholic or alcohol.
Okay. And have you had it all the way from the beginning?
Yes. Yep. We've served drinks since day one.
Nice. Do you think it's part of the reason why you have such a success at your location?
That's a great question. I do think that when we're doing those company holiday parties and those team building events, I think it is a big factor because, for example, we have a big account. It's a manufacturing firm. They fly people in from all over and they come to our facility for their team building event, and, they do an open bar. So, it is just a nice to have type thing. I think you could probably still be successful without it. The one thing that I really like about our venue is we're family friendly. So it's not a place that you're going to come and you're going to overdrink and you're really going to party. That's not the type of venue that's not what our culture is. And so our culture is to come, have clean fun. And if you want to have a couple drinks, we can definitely do that.
Derek, you mentioned one of the strategies where you market to corporate events and birthday parties. What are the marketing strategies you would say that works exceptionally well for your business?
Yeah, great question. So I would say email and cold calling is definitely the two things that work best for us. And so now luckily we've done this a very manual process to build our cold calling list and our email list. And so it was a lot of work up front, but now we have a list of about 3,000 businesses and organizations that we use. And it's still a little bit of a manual process. I need to implement automation in the business right now, and I just haven't done that yet. And it's definitely holding me back. So right now, what we do is in the second week of October, we start our email campaigns for our team building events and our holiday parties because we know businesses are going to start to think about those. The banking industry usually are the ones that think about it first. And then the smaller other businesses, manufacturing and other verticals, we start to see them really start booking those parties the first week of November. But so the second week of October, we start our email campaigns and then we're following up with a cold call. And then hopefully, if we get a hold of them, then we send another email with more information. We have a YouTube video that's included in the email so they can see what the facility looks like if they haven't been there before. We also link to our website if they want to book directly, just to make sure that we have that call to action in that email. But then we start interacting with the customer. We start to understand, how many people do they have? When do they usually have their party? Is it December? Is it January? Is it after that? And then we start to basically just have that conversation about, why they're going to have so much fun having their holiday party with us at Axe Holes, whether they're doing axe throwing or they're doing paint splatter. And we just kind of take that conversation and hopefully can convert that lead and that prospect into booking a party. And so that's a little bit what our process is. Even though it's a little bit of a manual process, we've had really good success. One of the biggest challenges that I found out was when I first bought this business, I was waiting too long. I was waiting until the second or third week of November to market to them, to have them book their holiday parties. And most of them already had their holiday parties booked by then. So timing was just critical. And that was something that I really stubbed my toe with. And I really messed up the first year that we started, that we were really marketing to businesses to book those holiday parties.
Okay, nice. And that was my next question. Like, what kind of lessons have you learned since you acquired the business and since you've been doing marketing and, growing your business?
I think the biggest thing that I messed up on was not doing social media ads. So this year we're on track to, I think, grow our revenue by 50%. In the other years, we were just seeing revenue. In 2022, we saw our revenue drop by 50%. Then we saw our revenue decline again. And so when I started working with Blue Apple Marketing, that was the turning point. So yes, we implemented our paint splatter room July of 24, but it really wasn't until January of 25 that we really started seeing exponential growth. And it was because we started implementing the Facebook ads and we really started promoting our paint splatter room. I had that mindset of our revenue was declining. We were doing marketing and I didn't do the social media ads because my brain was set of, man, we're already losing so much money now. I can't stand to lose additional money was my mindset and my focus. And after working with Blue Apple Marketing and working with Austin, he basically just had a conversation with me and said, you have to do this and you need to stop working in your business and you need to start working on your business. And it was just a mindset shift for me. And so once we started doing that and we really started to see that high ROI with those marketing and Facebook ads, and it was just a game changer for us. And so ever since, I just started to really invest in marketing and changing our strategies. And it's been a total game changer.
Let me ask you this. On a management side, for somebody who is just starting up, or maybe they're planning to buy their first either escape room or extra place, or maybe paint studio, what would you recommend to them now with your experience?
Yeah, I think one of the things that was the biggest challenge for me, so I actually live an hour and 15 minutes away from my venue, which is not ideal. And one of the things that I really had to implement for the staff was there was just no systems and processes in place when I took over the venue. It was kind of just ran, very casually. And so, like, just adding those systems and processes into, I mean, just down to what the startup process of the venue is. What do you do during the shifts? What do you do when you go to leave? All that stuff, just that was not implemented at all when I purchased the business. So not that's why I was working in the business so much when I first bought it and not on the business, which I should have been focused on. I basically had to change the culture day one. And by the end of the first week, the staff told me, okay, you're completely different. We want to work with you and for you. And so I was able to turn that culture around really, really fast. Thank God. Then I was able to rebuild the staff. And there were some staff that did still leave, after 6 months or a year, actually. But now I have the best team I've ever had. and they represent the culture of who we are, and that, we treat everybody with upbeat kindness is my big thing. And even the grumpiest customers, we have them laughing and joking by the time that they leave and they had an experience that they're going to remember. I mean, Dimitri, you know this, you live this. Birthday parties are core memories of kids. And so we're so blessed to be able to be a part of that. When the kids come and have their birthday party with us, we have them screaming that this is the best birthday party ever, And so the parents remember that, the kids remember that, their friends remember that. And that's the experience that we want to deliver every single party that we have. From the point when you walk in that front door to when you leave, we want you to remember this as an awesome experience. And so that's our goal, and that's what I've immersed into our culture of our from our employees to our facility to everything we do is just, creating that core memory that people are always going to remember.
Today, end of 2025, a lot of people who might be watching this video, they're gonna say, like, is this is for real? Extra days and doing good? Because I know that a lot of people right now, especially in extra industry, is struggling. Like for people who owns extra places and they feel the pain right now, what can you suggest them? Like, what do you think make your venue different? Again, besides the fact that it's only one venue in a bigger area,
Yeah.
what makes the difference?
Yeah, so I think number one, adding that second experience. So the paint splatter room started another buzz for us in our town. So when we added the paint splatter room, it ended up in the newspapers, it ended up on the news. And so we had another buzz that was created that we just were kind of missing. But I think the other thing is a lot of axe throwing venues, they're focusing maybe on the wrong target audience. And so a lot of axe throwing venues that I talk to, they're focusing on maybe the adult birthday party, but in my eyes, we focus on the adult birthday parties as well. But when you're an adult, you are going out with maybe a couple friends, maybe four friends at the most. And so that ticket price for four friends is very different than doing a kid's birthday party where you're having 15 to 20 people. And so I think one of the things that we didn't catch on to early on was focusing on doing the kids' birthday parties. Parents will spend $400, $600, even $1,000 on their kid's birthday party. Where if you're going out with your friends, you may spend $80 to $100. And so I think it was just a different demographic that we weren't marketing to. And so I have a friend in Tennessee, and I have another friend in Louisiana, and they have axe throwing venues. And so I've been really working with them to really focus their efforts on those high ticket sales and those parties that are the, $500 to $1,000 parties rather than the 40 night, ticket sales. But I'm not saying that you can't be successful on that. I'm just saying those are nice to haves, and the 40 night is nice fill-ins, but you really need to be booking and having your reservations for those bigger, higher ticket sales, in my opinion.
Great, great advice. You work during the day and you have this business. How difficult it is, how it's affecting your personal life.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I do work 70 hours a week between my day job and my side business. But to me, mental health and physical health is really my top priority. I need to be the best that I can be for my team, for my day job. I lead a very large IT and cybersecurity company. And so it's important for me that I'm on all the time for them and, growing that company. We've seen significant growth on that side, but that's also goes to show I need to be doing that for my business as well. For me, it is work, but it doesn't really phase me anymore just because I've been doing it for so long. But I do find myself being inspired by others. So, when I see what you and Austin and Blue Apple Marketing is doing and Spin Art Nation and your escape rooms, like that really inspires me. So, like Austin's post that he made about the facility, I think they spent a whole week or a couple days creating content. And like that inspired me. And I was like, oh, I got to go take action and create ideas for new content that we're going to do. And so I think it's just making sure that you're immersing yourself with people that are like minded and I like to surround myself with people that are way smarter than me and doing way bigger things than me because it like energizes me and I want to do that. Like I see all the success that you guys have had and I know that everything isn't cupcakes and roses. I know you guys have your challenges and I know that you guys have probably had your lulls and things like that, but just knowing that you guys are doing great things inspires me to be better. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I always try to do is just surround myself with the people that are doing cool things and just that are going to inspire me to continue to grow and take action.
How big is your city?
Yeah, we have between 30 and 35,000 people in our city.
Okay, so it's considered basically smaller size city. For somebody who is in also smaller cities, what is the three things you would advise for them if they have a small entertainment company, throw an escape room, paint studio, paint room, or something else?
Yeah, I think building relationships with businesses and even the larger businesses in that small town has really helped us. So, for example, we are a college town. Now, the college kids aren't a big market for us just because, axe throwing and entertainment's a little bit more expensive and it's a little bit more expensive than going to the bars and having drinks. But the college itself is a big account for us. So, we do a ton of team building events for them, whether that be the student week. So, for example, they have a student health week where around exam times or finals, the college pays for students to come in and throw axes. So that's a really good account for us. We also work with the coaches to bring their teams in to do team building events with us. So that's worked really well for us. But then we've also partnered with the larger businesses in our town uh, or to do team building events. So we have some pretty large manufacturing facilities. We have some pretty large retail businesses. So we built really good relationships with them where we know that they're going to do parties with us in August and October. Like for example, one of the manufacturing facilities, they have interns that they bring in and they always want to do a team building event at the end of their internship in the summer. So we know that we're going to have some very large parties in August with them. And then we know that they fly people in from all over the US in October, and we're going to have two really large parties for them in October. So I think just building those relationships. And then also, I think we've built really good relationships with the small business community and we pass business back and forth. So that has worked really, really well for us. But I think also in a small business, even down to our Facebook marketing, like it's still worked, even if you're in a small business. I think a lot of people, we still get, we've been established since 21 and people still come to us and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that you guys were even here or that you had your paint splatter room or did axe throwing. So I think that brand awareness is also super important, but I also want smaller businesses to think about that it's just not brand awareness, right? You still need that call to action. You still need them to actually book a party. A lot of businesses I see, small businesses, they'll do, their social media ads, but they don't have a good call to action and they're just doing brand awareness. And I feel like they're just lighting dollars on fire because they're doing brand awareness, but they are not having those people come in and actually make a reservation or come to their facility. So I always, want people to be a little bit careful about that.
Nice. All right, listen, it was awesome conversation.